is on the healing historical trauma in Indigenous youth through cultural practices. For a little background, during the time periods of the 1800s to 1900s, the U.S. government forced thousands of Native American children, Native Americans, from their native land, and this was done in a variety of ways, including Native American boarding schools, forced reservations, and forced marches. Because my topic is mostly on Indigenous youth, I chose to focus for the background more on the Native American boarding schools. So, more than 350 schools across the U.S. instilled the vicious mission of kill the Indian to save the man, which basically contributes to the cultural assimilation. They wanted to force the Native American culture out of these people and assimilate them into Western culture. And this is a map that, and the quote is from Ellis Wild of the Tribal Business News. And then this map shows the Native American boarding schools across the U.S. and it's by the U.S. Department of Interior. Okay. Additionally, before 1978, more than 25% of Native children in Oklahoma specifically removed from their families. And this is a picture from the Carlisle Indian School in 1880, the time period of 1880 to 1890, and that was the largest school in the U.S. So because of these forced assimilations, the modern effects of these are lasting historical trauma, which defined by Dolores Bigfoot of the University of Oklahoma is the cumulative exposure of traumatic events that affect an individual and can continue to affect subsequent generations. As a result of this historical trauma, there is an increased risk of depression, anxiety, and involvement with substance abuse in teens today, in Indigenous teens today. A quote, which is also a connection to the stimulus material, is by Rachel Gonzo, who is a cultural critic, and she says, "Yes, this here, this is my family. These are my people. We cannot even know for sure that we have found them. These are the consequences of a history I cannot change." Although her circumstance was different than what my topic is presumably about, her the assimilation of her African Americans in the U.S. for countless years has had similar effects on her. Consequently, Johan Norberg, who is Johan Norberg states that when things change too fast, we lose our sense of control. We have a yearning for the past. Basically, with the loss of control, we want things to go back to the way that they were. As a result of this, depression, anxiety, and family alcohol and drug abuse, which are continued pathways of addiction, affect Native youth at higher rates as they carry the weight of their ancestors' trauma. In a study by Debbie LaPlante on the effects of substance abuse on Native American tribes, she states that majority of American Indian youth respondents reported lifetime experiences with substance abuse. Most youth respondents reporting having these experiences by age 12 or 13. And this is a graph by Dennis Donovan, who shows that 50% of the participants in the study that he conducted reported having smoked cigarettes or used marijuana, whereas 94% had reported substance abuse like alcohol by between ages 13 and 16. So as a result of this, I chose my research question is, in what ways can cultural narratives and an understanding of a person's heritage positively impact teens' health within Indigenous tribes across North America? And my thesis was basically, as many Indigenous youth are exposed to these problems such as substance abuse and violence, because of cultural trauma, cultural practices and traditions can heal these broken ties within communities. there are many modern studies that support this. And so one of these effects is by the same study as that Dennis Donovan did. And so this was after like the initial findings and stuff. So he reported that 62.5 reported of the participants reported frequent and regular participation with their culture. 37% reported moderate, and 71.4 reported less than they wanted to have. So basically, with like more cultural practices, participation. This is a long quote, but basically it states that this contributes to more hope and optimism, which will reduce like the negative effects of historical trauma. And there are definitely many different studies. One of these cultural ideals is the Seattle Canoe Journey, which brings together people from California, Hawaii, New York, and Alaska, and it's like a celebration of cultural traditions and stuff, and it has had a lot of lasting effects of positivity. Okay, and there's also already implemented solutions. The Indian Child Welfare Act, passed in 1978, makes it illegal in most states for families for children to be adopted or placed outside of their families or tribes for Indigenous youth. And as you can see, from 2010 to 2020, the amount of children, which is the orange line, Indigenous children being placed within their families has gone up. So basically the insight or illusion that your people and nation endure something together can help inspire. Some limitations of the study are many teens don't have access to these resources. Organizations and tribes may lack funding to provide this. And the counter argument is modern psychological techniques don't work on all youth. But these solutions have been proven to work by numerous studies. So basically, in conclusion, cultural involvement or just being able to like participate within their culture can help heal historical trauma in youth. And if organizations can implement these practices, it will greatly improve Indigenous youth health.
Alright, how did you handle different perspectives within your research in order to help you reach your conclusion?
So because of my topic, there weren't very many different differing what is it called? Perspectives, yeah, sorry. Because it's just like, I guess it's a common topic, like you can't really necessarily argue that the cultural trauma hasn't affected thousands of people and stuff. But whenever I did find a counter argument, I guess, for differing perspectives, I guess it's like what type of solution would help, like if it's a participation with youth in cultural traditions and stuff. I tried to implement every single one I possibly could and stuff to make my argument more rounded and stuff. So yeah, that's how I did it.
What are the real-world implications or consequences of your findings specific to our community?
Specific to our community, in our community there's a large diverse population, especially of Indigenous people, and this in our community there was an boarding school and stuff, so the implication of this is that these cultural traditions can also help our community heal in a lot of ways, and just in being involved with cultural practice.